All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. I'm John Schmidt, your host, and I have Lucy. It's Lucy and John show tonight because I don't know if Brad fell asleep or if his pink shirt fell off or whatever happened to him. But I don't. I He's not backstage, and Tiffany's MIA. She probably went to a watch party. But it looks like we got a bunch of viewers already. We're gonna do some. We're gonna do some post mortem of this thing. Man, it was long. I think they were just saying it was the longest speech they have heard on the. It even beat Bill Clinton and all that. But yeah, that was a good one. I mean, I don't think the Democrats liked it a whole lot. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on Lucy. Hello, Lucy. How you doing?
Hey,
The,
apparently we're the insomniacs in the
yeah,
group.
the two old people are staying on here, and you're not even that old.
That's right. That's right.
So,
I think we
well,
are the oldest,
I
aren't we?
think
Like
Brad
legitimately.
Brad fell asleep, but wow, that was interesting. Uh, I mean, the guy just goes on and goes on, and I don't think he really made any. I think he said one word. He said one word. He said not right. I can't remember which one it was, but it was just that was it. But everything else, he's just like goes and goes.
He
So
said
what was?
He said Uganda or Uganda instead of Uganda.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
that was the only thing
yeah,
that I might have disagreed with. I loved it when he said, and this is so bad. I took notes, right? See?
yeah. That's Well, you really put all your all in this show. I mean, it's great. It's
I
great.
just love to be right, and I'm right all the time. And so if I continue this trend,
It's
I'll have
Virgos.
to take over for president. It is Virgos. Man, we are just accurate
I
people.
mean, if
I love
everybody
being
would just
accurate.
listen to us, the world would be a better place. It's like, so
Yeah, exactly. I just loved it when he said, we sent, he said we sent $8 million for LGBTQIA plus in Lesotho, which no one in Africa, which no
yeah,
one's ever heard
no,
of.
that was.
Which
I
like
mean, they
eight
were like,
million dollars, no one's ever heard of this place.
so what was your favorite? What was your favorite thing that you could? I mean, if you could
Oh
think of one.
gosh. When he really showed his human side, and by that I mean I'm a crier, so if you see me crying, I could be happy crying, I could be sad
Just
crying.
crying.
I just, I have that privilege being female in this society that's perfectly fine to cry for any reason. I really feel sad for males that's suppressed for them. But the thing that I really loved that Trump did tonight that made me that made him seem so human was honoring, Laken Riley and 12-year-old Jocelyn, who now has a pristine refuge named after her next to the Gulf of America. And, like renaming the Gulf of America, that just made me giggle because that's
Yeah.
just so grandiose, you
So
know.
yeah. So
Uh-oh,
Brad.
Brad's wearing a tie.
Yeah, look, he's at his parents' house.
We're trying
Where's
to figure out what this
Yeah.
means for us,
Yeah,
I
we're in
think maybe he
trouble.
came loaded
We're,
for bear or
we're
something,
in
and we're about
trouble.
to get schooled. Okay,
He
what's this thing about the ocean, Brad?
The Gulf,
What are you
yeah.
talking? I
What
missed it.
triggered you on that? The Gulf of America. It's
Oh,
like
no, no, no. It's about hang on. It's about he's the one who brings up the ocean with Zelensky and
oh, okay.
Ukraine. Like I know that he got really upset when Zelensky said that, you have the ocean,
They're
you're
buffering
not going
us.
to feel it, or you might feel it eventually, but you have the ocean. Zelensky isn't the one that brought that up. Like if you go back in the video, Trump is the one who talks about the fact that we
Ah,
do have an
okay.
ocean between us. And so I don't know why he flipped out, you know, on that. So
I don't know. As somebody who's anti-Zelensky and has been ever since I saw his dancing videos and his
Oh,
commercials
you got
where they had to blur out his genitals because he was naked, I just don't think that the man has any decorum. The people that have escaped Ukraine and are now living in Poland, I was, reading reading on the internet, right, as if that's the arbiter of fact. But it was people who claimed that they had previously lived in Ukraine, they saw that was happening, and they fled to Poland before he started grabbing men off the streets, kidnapping and throwing them in vans and putting them in, in the front line. And they talked about the corruption
well,
under
they were
Zelensky's
saying that
regime.
they were selling half of the weapons for money, and I mean,
Oh
and
yeah,
who
they
knows
were.
what's going on. But one of the things, he didn't hit on that too much. But on the internet, we see people standing with Ukraine, or I mean, to me, we got to stand with USA. I mean, I'm sorry, I
It's a
get it.
marketing, yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
well,
like
I think a lot of that crap is gonna go away. I've absolutely loved how, Trump opened up with saying, we withdrew from, the green
Yeah.
agenda, the Paris Accord, the WHO, the UN, um, electric autos, no mandate. And if we get one new regulation, I mean, there was I'm like
He
trying to
sounded like a
things.
libertarian there for a minute,
I
didn't
know. I'm
he?
trying to
Nice.
search for things that I disagree with. Now, as a libertarian, I would disagree with tariffs on a philosophical level because tariffs are taxes, and a tax is it's a penalty for doing something, right? So if you get a tax on your income, then it's penalizing you for earning income. So taxation is theft. It's not
Well,
just
in this one it
philosophical,
said,
it really
did
is.
you see the start of the show? It was tariff taxes theft.
Yeah.
I did that
Yeah,
just for
no,
you,
no, for
Lucy. And
sure. But,
we,
the Constitution, those are constitutional taxes. So I don't think that they're very smart, but they are allowed.
yeah, it's let's go. I'm going to go with blue today for Brad. How's that, Brad? Is
Nice.
that the good blue for you? There you
Well,
go.
Yeah.
it's
Because I
equitable
know
because we're
you're
all blue.
because of the State of the Union. Because your Democrat friends were just not having it. They were. They didn't.
What are
They
you
didn't
talking
set up.
about?
Some of them got to get thrown out. That one dude got thrown out. He was shaking his cane at him like it was Ebenezer Scrooge.
Okay, so am I the only
I
one
mean,
that
what
it
about
seemed like
Midge?
all of
How come she didn't get kicked
Midge?
out last year? How?
Oh yeah, she should have been kicked out. I just think we've lost our decorum in this country for
Yeah,
some reason. It's
that's
like
why
Yeah.
we're here. Civil
it's like
discourse.
it is just
But
yeah.
you guys don't think that Trump kind of flipped out
What do you mean?
on Friday with the Ukraine thing?
Now okay, then let's talk about that one. I that one was very odd that how
Like I
that
think
got. I
Vance
mean that
ramped it
went
up.
that
I
was
think
like
JD Vance
three.
was the jury.
That's what happens when you have three alpha males in a room, and one of them wasn't he wasn't ready for that, and he just did not. And I get it. If you're a strong leader of your country, you're not going to kiss Trump's ring. I get it, but you can do better than that. You can't get thrown out. I mean, I'm sorry. You got to be able to
No,
know the
but I
He's
don't
line.
know
been
what he did. But
begging. He's been begging for us for years and getting hundreds of billions of dollars for it from us.
And I
You
think
think that
I
he
mean,
would act?
they were talking for like 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just got
it
into a
just, yeah,
fight.
I'm telling you, it just
Well, and all he did was bring up the fact that Putin doesn't really ever acknowledge ceasefires, or he doesn't. He'll
they're dirty.
eventually. Well,
They've
and
been dirty
so,
the whole time. I mean, all
but,
of it
but all he
just
did was bring that up, and then Vance just
lit
pounced,
into
and
him.
that
I
lit up
mean,
Trump, and he just,
they went bad fast. Well, and my thing is like, hey, you could come back and it looks like they might be having a deal or something. You can come back later. It's just, but I think everybody made a really, really big deal out of it. They just, and Trump's doing all this stuff so we can all see it. He had his cabinet meeting the first day. Let's bring the press in. I'm like, wow, that's just crazy. I mean, but he wants people to see what goes on. And and
does
I think
he? Does he?
well, I think he wants to control
I
what
mean,
everybody sees that goes on. I get it, but I mean, it's
what about
crazy
that?
right
What
now.
about that sweet Epstein release?
Yeah, that was not good. I tell you
Come
that. I don't
on,
even know.
like
Did it ever get released?
Volume 1 got released to a bunch of podcasters and people from Libs of TikTok got it. They were like holding it up, like smiling with it,
Okay,
and it turned out to be like just the same stuff that was already released, I think.
so
But now
Brad,
Pam Bondi is mad and Cash
oh yeah,
Patel's mad.
they just didn't get all the stuff. But I would say it's almost like testing something, testing the rocket before you fire it to make sure that the switch is on. So Brad, what was I asked Lucy what her favorite moment was. I mean, you had to have a favorite one. I mean, you had to like something there, right?
Yeah, my favorite was he said something about bringing back law and order to cities and towns, which
Oh.
I just wanted to reply with like a big ol' middle finger.
Now you're supposed to be like it. I said like, not what you don't like.
No, like the
No,
fact that he just watched cops get the shit kicked out of him on January 6th and just sat there watching it. You want to talk
Where
about
where
back in
did
the
where
blue?
did cops get the shit beat out of them on January the 6th?
Like in
I
like
mean,
the scrum and stuff when they got like
yeah,
jabbed and
I
stuff and
mean,
bear sprayed and
there was some bear
Lucy,
I
spray and stuff,
Lucy,
but I mean, it
you
wasn't
didn't.
I
like
didn't see
it. It wasn't
that.
like
Maybe
the
I'm watching a
riots in
different news
Minnesota.
channel.
Let's say that. So here's my favorite one.
Oh,
Here's my favorite one. Dan Toll,
Oh,
the little
yes.
boy getting the FBI. I mean,
It
that
was
was just
actually
something.
it was actually Secret Service, just
Yeah,
to be
well,
clear.
he got it.
The hug.
It
The
didn't.
little boy
Yeah.
gave him
Oh,
a
it was
hug.
just like,
Oh, I
yeah.
was starting to
I
cry.
don't care who you are. You got to say that was pretty cool. That kid and some of the people that, and they always have some stories in there, but you almost Trump has that way of almost like he really knows what's going on with this stuff. He really does care.
Yeah, but
About these
Musk
things.
is gonna fire him next week, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because he's getting paid too
I'm
much.
gonna play devil's advocate just for a second on Brad's behalf here. You said, Trump really knows about him. Yeah, it's called reading the script.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I said seems. I said see.
Oh,
He
okay,
has
you did.
that.
Okay, so you
It
hedged your
seems
language there.
genuine. I mean,
Yeah, he really does seem genuine, but
yeah. It's just like you
But
can't
he
deny
reads
that.
everything like he's just so full of shit. Like I don't know how.
I don't. He sells it pretty good, I think.
But there's
I
just
you know
like the tone and the oh man. And there was an
well when he
article today
says
about
this
the
is the
weave.
the most military signups we've had. I that one I'm like I
What do we
don't.
need
I
it
mean
for though? If we're getting out of
9/11
wars,
was huge sign up. After the war, the World War II, they had a ton of people sign up to go to war. I mean, I know a guy that was 17 back, well, he's passed since, but he was only 17 and he lied his way to go to, fight in the
yeah.
war. So, I mean, that kind of exaggeration, I call those promoter number exaggerations. There's some things that are just straight up lies, but other things are like promoters. Like he would talk about his rally having 100,000 people at it. Well, there's like 30,000 or whatever.
now
That's
you're
like a
cool with
promoter number.
promoter lies, but not
Promoter line. There's a
not
difference.
lying
Yeah.
lies.
Not lying lines.
It's
It's
called
promoter
hype.
Do you think
lines.
he knows the
Called hype.
difference?
I don't think so. I think he's been a
So
promoter
isn't that
his
just
whole life. I think it's just in his DNA. I'm a promoter. I'm an exaggerator. I'm going to tell you you're the bestest and you're the biggest and you're the baddest. And that's just, I mean, that's his personality. But some of the stuff.
don't you think that's going to lead us a tiny bit astray?
Well, it could get us into a big old war. I mean, think about it. Right now, we could do it.
So
I mean,
John,
I'm
what
not.
are we doing?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it could be that because we just made one of the people mad, Zelensky, and then now you got the European people like siding with him, and now it's going to be Russian against the Europe. This is how it started back in WW2. Basically we let Hitler run loose, and then
And
got
that's
into the war late.
Lucy, do you think Trump would stand up to Putin? Like how?
I
Oh, yeah, Trump would absolutely stand up to Putin
yeah.
without a doubt. I mean, if you want to talk about two alpha males, that's two
There
alpha
you go.
males.
Yeah, I mean they could
That
But
both
does
that
be.
that? I
really is.
mean, okay.
I mean, Putin is he's like
But
RFK. He's
what does
like
that entail
physically
though?
manly.
Like, what if does it include like just Trump turning over Ukraine to
Well,
Russia?
first of all, it's not Trump turning over Ukraine. Ukraine is a sovereign
Yeah,
country that should be dealing with their own crap. Our whole country was founded on friends to all, allies to none. The whole point of our Constitution was to avoid these types of entangling alliances like NATO and other military compacts that put our people in danger. The fact of the matter is if the conflict is popular enough, if people believe in it, if they see that there's injustice, then people will willingly sign up to fight. One of the things that we do as citizens of the US is we have the Second Amendment, and a lot of people believe in this country enough that they invest their own time and their own riches, their fortunes, whatever, they invest their money into making sure that they have guns and ammo in their home. A lot of people have those guns and ammo in their home not just to protect their family, but should the need arise to protect the country. So it is so popular to love this country and to appreciate the rights that we have that people invest their own money in order to protect it.
we got a lot of guns these days. I mean, the Obama
Mhm.
was going to grab the guns, and everybody went out and bought them, and then everybody bought them to be. We got a lot of guns, a lot of guns right now. But if you look at it, that's where governments take over when they take the guns. And I hate to say that we have, the consequence to that is maybe we have a few more murders than we should have. Not maybe we do have because some people decide conflict resolution is to shoot the other guy.
Shall not infringe, John. I'm not even going down that road, man.
Yeah.
That's,
well, yeah, I know.
That's a hard thing to.
It's it's tough.
to ever scale
I
back,
don't
I
have a
think.
gun. I don't own a gun. It's
Me
not,
neither.
my motto is live by the sword, die by the sword. But I know there's a lot of people, I think one of the problems we have in Indianapolis, and you talked about law and order back to our cities, I would love to see that because our prosecutor is asleep at the switch and he's not prosecuting things. And they got the revolving door thing going. And a lot of people end up buying guns for protection, which ends up being a problem because when they get mad, they end up shooting somebody because it was bought this gun for protection. And it's a bad circle that we're in. But a lot of people don't rely on the system because we're not prosecuting these folks and the law and order is not happening. I mean, it's tough right now. They're down on police officers. It's just tough. Our city's really running itself. We're just basically running on on the goodness of people. And then we have some bad element out there. They were stealing the siding off of a house over on the other corner around here. Stole the sidings off of the house.
Did they still, was it aluminum siding that they can sell
Yeah, it
for
was
scrap?
aluminum siding. Just stole it.
Yep.
And air conditioner units at the
Oh yeah.
one of the drive-ins and one of the churches. That's just great. And then most of it's to supply a drug habit. And that's one of the
I
things.
used to flip a lot of houses, and one of the first things that we would do is we would take the red and blue PEX pipe and we would tape it to the biggest, picture window on the inside. We'd tape it there in the front of the house so that we would let the copper criminals know, hey, we're using PEX in this house. There's no copper here. And then we had a welder who would create cages around the air conditioning units, the condenser units outside that they would steal the coils from. And then, you would use concrete, like self-tapping screws or whatever. I think they're called Tapcon,
Yeah,
to screw that to screw that iron cage down, in order to avoid, because they're only going to come in and do what's easy. So if you create some
right.
obstacles for them, then they'll just go to the next mark, which is easy.
Yep. Well, and that's just property theft and damage is one thing. When we lose lives, that's another thing. Uh, it's like and that's part of the thing about the cities. But I was talking about this before. Back in the day, we used to have Center Township, and then the
Mhm.
surrounding 8 townships in Marion County were basically what we'd call the suburbs.
Yeah.
Well, over time, Center Township is spread out to entirely Marion County, and now we have the donuts around there. It's just
Yep.
almost like a explosion out, and people wonder what happens. We lose, since 2020, we've lost 10,000 people from Marion County, and most of them Republicans. Not to say they're great or bad or whatever, but those are the folks that have had enough. so it which makes it even harder to change leadership. And then this leadership we have gets complacent because we can't, it's a super majority. And then you could flip that to Brad's situation and your situation where you're out in the Red Sea, where there's a complacency of no competition, and we can't get a stinking property tax bill passed because you know what? They can do whatever the heck they want.
They
So,
can. They
yeah.
can give themselves raises. Whopping
Raises and days off, and they can name days after their cat. I mean,
Oh man,
but
no.
by
Okay,
gosh, if we
so
got to do some work on this SB1, we can't do that.
but John, like, so you guys saw that Mike Braun signed that executive order about uh like family leave and things like that,
Yeah,
and
you got to
extending
be
it
happy
out.
with that.
And but no, like he told local governments do more with less. And
Well, you can do it on your maternity leave. You're just gonna have to get a girlfriend, get
I'm
her
sorry,
pregnant, so
man,
you
but
get your
like
6 weeks off.
you he's picking and choosing on a lot of stuff that it's like it's okay for him and his ilk, but not for the
Well,
public.
I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback on that because I think Braun. I mean, obviously, the governor is the weaker of the two. The legislature has a power in our state. They have 51%, and Braun has 49. He has veto power. That's about it. He can make suggestions. He can say this and that.
But
And
it's
the
a
only thing,
supermajority though. Like
yeah, well, I'm saying, and they can even override his veto. So he has even less power than, say, a normal time governor. So, he tells them, he says, hey, property taxes are the number one thing. People told me about property tax. We're going to talk about property tax. In fact, let's make it SB1. That's going to be the most important bill out of the Senate. We're going to do this. and then they gut it, and then send it over to the House, and now they're going to try to fix it, and they're going to band-aid up something, and then Lucy's going to say at the end of this, when they get it done, taxation is theft, and they didn't do anything. And then
well, why was it gutted, John?
Because some
did people
lobbyists
not
got
like
together,
it?
or
Did people,
and honestly,
or were they paid actors? Were they paid Democrats that came to
I think it's
testify?
we're going to, the public libraries aren't going to get funded. Your garbage is not going to be picked up. We can't fund the police. We're not going to be able to fund the schools. That's what happened. And I don't hear anything about, hey, let's cut some spending and then let's look at this thing. It's always a knee jerk thing with all this stuff. It's like, it's just, and I, back to the State of the Union thing. That's what I worry about. Too much, too fast, because in construction, we get a plan from either the engineers or the architects or whatever. They give us this plan. We start building it. Well, you get in there and, folks, these plans are not, you would be surprised how many adjustments we make in the field with things. But when you make an adjustment off of a plan, it usually affects 4 or 5 things later on if you don't think about what those things are. And I think that's where we are right now. They've got the plan, and man, we're just chopping and hacking and slashing, and it's going to be a headache. And when Trump says these tariffs and things are going to be a little bit painful, remember, promoters exaggerate what it is. It's going to be real painful. It is going to be super painful, but I think it's going to be necessary, because it was coming, whether we did it this way or if we kept running this inflation out. At some point it breaks. I mean, when we get 40 trillion, what's the breaking point on the spending?
Well, what's the breaking point on house, home prices? What's the breaking point on? There's the inability to see what the breaking point is for the public versus what is the breaking point for a country? It's still affecting the people, and we need to address that. That property taxes, all that stuff needs talked about.
Well, and then he talks about inflation, and honestly, our dollar is under attack they're trying to de-dollarize the world, our US dollar. You got BRICS, there's they're just always going to attack us. And we have got to make the dollar stronger. And the way we do that is to reduce the debt and prop up our currency. And it's been teeter-tottering on the lower side, and it's going to get down there one time, and they're going to get it. Back in 2008, China and Russia tried to do the same currency takeover, and it didn't work. So,
what about the crypto reserve now?
Don't even get me started on that farce. I mean, that thing. So, I'm just saying, it's just Lucy, about the crypto stuff. I mean, the blockchain and all that, but
I sent Lucy a message too about this, because it just seems completely made up. I bet if you asked Trump himself, he would not be able to explain it.
No. Well, it would be exaggerated, but and I don't, the Bitcoin that's mined with the electricity, it's actually something. I don't know what it is. If it's a bunch of ones and zeros.
No, it's not.
It's not. That's just what they told us.
No. Okay, so.
Okay, thanks, Lucy.
Our money, these pieces of paper that we have in our pockets, they're just imaginary. They have
I
no
got
value.
71 cents right here, or 74. How much is a stamp now? 74?
I don't know, but what that is that's a prepaid service, and you have a receipt for that, and they accept your receipt when you put it on an envelope and send it through the company or entity that sold it to you. So, that actually, you have a claim on their services because you bought them in advance. That's very different from
them crypto.
A dollar bill. And the fact is, it's no longer a dollar bill, because a dollar literally means, it's the definition of a dollar is 1/20th of an ounce of gold, which is why when gold was $20 an ounce, 20 rectangles equaled an ounce of gold. And now it would take what, $200?
It's 3,000. It's almost $3,000 an ounce.
Oh, shoot.
So crazy.
So we're talking 130 rectangles now equal what a dollar did in 1912.
How many rectangles are in Fort Knox?
No, that's hey, that's
I'm
like
gonna say 0. Okay, see, what I think has been happening is Trump's been giving them enough time and teasing it, just
so,
like you tease, just like you tease the trailer on your new TV show, like he's doing The Apprentice, right? So he's teasing what's going to be in the next couple of episodes, and the footage has already been shot, but they're just busy editing it before the big reveal, right? So
Where's
I
the
believe that
transparency? Where's the
it's right next
transparency?
zero,
to. I'll tell you, all that gold's right next to the Epstein list. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
probably.
That's
yeah.
exactly
Well,
where.
I mean, let's face it, they've got plenty of time to rent gold and to bring it
So
in. Yeah,
Spiro
and
says
zeros there.
crypto is more like a ARC transaction. So it's
ACH, that's the
ACH. So
automated clearinghouse,
yeah,
that the banks use when they clear a
yeah, they
check.
just do
So the
wire it
fact
and
of
all
the
that.
matter is crypto, any crypto is just as valid as the currency of any country. You have in the respect that it only has the value that people assign to it based
Yes.
on their belief that it has some utility or fungibility. So fungibility is the ability to use it, right? So there are lots of businesses and lots of people who will accept Bitcoin in payment for their goods or services, and that's what makes Bitcoin useful and fungible because other people will use it. But the minute the internet goes down, the fungibility and utility of any cryptocurrency is basically going to disappear. Now, to be fair, you can do analog Bitcoin transactions. You can literally do them through like ham radio or radio waves or something. You
Oh
can
boy, now
literally
we
do that. Yes, yes, that is
can
possible.
I
People
can I
that
get can I get it to come in this way with the hat? I mean, that not
oh
work?
shoot, hold on, I got something you got to post. I'm
But
going to send
but
this to you,
Lucy,
John.
the internet will always be there because of Starlink, right?
Well,
That's
you
a
got that.
terrifying thought. That is the most terrifying thing that you have said today.
Yeah.
Because
How is it
because
not all
Bitcoin
leading
Skynet.
there, Lucy? So
Skynet.
Bitcoin was at $106,000 a couple 2 or 3
I
weeks ago.
know, and
Now it's at
I
80.
knew about it when it was 3 and 2 and 1, and I never bought any.
Yeah, well, I mean, but now there's 80, 84.80 is what it was last Friday, and we predict what it'll be. So Gary, my partner on the stock market neophyte, says it's going to go down to 68. I say it's going to be 85. I think it's going to be so. We got 2 weeks on that, but
Okay, John,
it's
I don't
crazy.
know. I'm gonna send this in our group chat, and I want to see if you can somehow post this
Oh,
online.
I think I can do it. We'll see. Is it? Our group chat over there. Oh yeah, I can do it. Hold on. Just so ask another question.
So what do we do about all this? I mean, obviously you've got half the country that thinks that everything that Trump said is total BS. I'm trying really hard to find something that I disagree with. I knew there was like one thing that I wrote down that I thought was bogus. And what was it? Oh, I'll
um
tell you what I was impressed with. When he brought RFK up, when he brought up RFK and RFK stood up and and Trump right there was talking about autism being 1 in 10,000 in 1970 and 1 in 36
That is something
currently.
else, isn't it?
And
but
So
those
Lucy,
statistics are 8 years behind. It is worse than 1 in 36. And it's actually 1 in like 16 boys and 1 in like 42 girls.
no, and
That's
Lucy,
how they
but
come up with
isn't
36.
that like with better testing with what are
No,
we actually looking
no.
for with what are
Do
we
I don't think it
let me
is. I
ask you,
mean,
I'm going to ask you a question.
no like
Um,
yeah.
are people fat now because we're better able to diagnose obesity?
it is like
No,
no,
no.
it is. We got such a sedimentary life for just like we're doing right here. We're sitting behind a computer screen
Well, and
when
to be fair, some of the things that contribute to autism actually also contribute to obesity. Things like heavy metals in our food,
Mhm.
glyphosate. A lot of the kids that have autism, when they get on a diet that is organic and free of glyphosate, for example, do you guys know how glyphosate works?
No,
Mhm.
do tell us.
Okay, so let me tell you the way it works. So, in the center of our red blood cells, we're red because we have iron in the center of our red blood cells. But in plants, they're green because the center of their cells is magnesium. So the way that glyphosate works is it goes in there and it interferes with the shikimate. Is it shikimate or
Hey,
shikimate?
no
I'm
cussing
going to
on
say
this show.
shikimate. Right, right. I'm going to just say it's shikimate, and
Hey,
somebody that's like a real scientist can
Air Muppet.
can say I'm saying it wrong, right?
I don't
What
know. I
interferes with the
couldn't.
shikimate pathway? The shikimate pathway in plants is the pathway to uptake magnesium into the plant cell. So if you spray Roundup on a plant, the reason that it dies and it shrivels up is because it's no longer getting magnesium. Just like if humans didn't have iron, we couldn't have oxygen in our blood. I was
Right.
anemic for a very long time and I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without being winded. I couldn't get through the day without collapsing on the bed and napping for hours. I was really careful about driving just because the fatigue is debilitating. But this is what happens. So Roundup Ready plants, the plants that can survive have been engineered to somehow retain their ability to uptake magnesium.
Hmm.
And that's how glyphosate works. So glyphosate was sold to the American public, Roundup was sold to the American public as we're mammals. We don't have shikimate pathways. So clearly it's
They were saying
fine.
it won't hurt us but it does
Right.
sort of hurt us because we end up ingesting it and
Well,
it does hurt
what's
us.
in your gut? What is in your gut?
This, no,
Non-mammalian cells that you're in a symbiotic relationship with, and you don't create dopamine or serotonin or many of the chemicals that you need to function with your brain and even the rest of your body without a healthy gut flora. So that glyphosate goes in there and it interferes with the shikimate pathway of all of the things that make you you, that make you work. I mean, you talk about the gut brain connection, you talk about having that feeling in your gut and it works with your intuition. I mean, all of that is interrupted. So, no wonder these children have these problems. I mean, that was the whole Andrew Wakefield thing. He was a gastroenterologist, and that's why parents with autism came to him and said, "Can you help our kids?" And he said, "No, I can't help your kids. I'm an intern. I'm a gastroenterologist.
it's too late.
I don't have anything to do with autism." And they said, "No, no, we don't. We're not trying to get you to treat our kids with autism. We just want some help so they don't have 14 terrible, you know, diarrhea diapers every day." As he helped heal their guts and as they analyzed what was in the intestines of those children, they discovered that the majority of those kids had vaccine type measles virus. That's different from the wild type measles virus. So they were just in I want I the word's not infested, but the vaccine type measles virus had proliferated and taken hold in their colons, and as they gave them antivirals and they cleaned up their diet and they gave them better gut flora, nonverbal kids became verbal.
Yeah. So in my neighborhood across the
Yes.
street, she's got 4 kids, all of them on the spectrum.
Yep.
And she's black. My next door
Yep.
neighbor is Mexican. They have 2 out of their 3 are on the spectrum. She's they're Mexican. On
Yep.
the corner, they have one boy who's got non-speaking Asperger's. That's just on my street here in the last 6 or so years, 8 years. Uh,
And you know why that correlates to poverty is because people who are poor don't have the resources for nutrition.
mhm.
And they're more likely to do whatever Medicaid tells them because they're afraid if they're receiving that. And I'm just assuming that people in your socioeconomic neighbor strata are more than likely. Now, that's not to say that kids with insurance, good insurance, don't escape from it, because unfortunately, pediatricians' offices, your pediatrician may not get a bonus. So when people say, "Oh, your pediatricians get a bonus for vaccinating," no, they don't have to give them an increase. Most people don't understand how medical offices work and how they're corporately owned and doctors just become employees, just like W-2 employees, just like your mechanic
Yep.
down at the
Yeah.
Jiffy Lube.
It's
But
just
but they do
a couple more
understand.
zeros by there. So,
Well, what happens is those pediatric offices are reimbursed by insurance companies for certain services, and those services, their quality scores are actually based on vaccine coverage percentage of the patient population. So if your kid, if you refuse vaccines for your kid and the vaccine coverage is then in danger of falling below an acceptable level, that pediatrician's office is going to lose the bonuses from Blue Cross Blue Shield for their entire patient population. So if over a 2-year period, during the first 24 months, 36 months, they're really, really trying to get kids vaccinated when they're small. What happens is that $400 bonus per kid times 1,000 kids, which is a small practice.
it's
1,000
money.
kids, that's $400,000.
Yeah, that's real
So if
money.
you're, yeah, so your kid has a target on their back, and people don't understand the unspoken and hidden financial incentives. So
Hmm.
anyway,
You're way too
I
smart for
could,
this show, right, Brad? I'm just sitting here going, What the hell did
Well,
she
no,
just
I
say?
mean, but didn't
I
RFK
know
come
what you
out
say.
as like pro-vaccine? Like, didn't he write an
Sadly,
op-ed?
well, sadly, I don't think he takes a strong enough stance on it.
He doesn't.
You know,
Well,
I'm
you know,
I
disappointed,
agree.
but I wonder
ooh,
if he's
what?
not taking as strong a stance in order to, get past the gatekeepers, because now that he's head of Health and Human Services, he can demand that vendors of products such as vaccines actually
Prove
prove
it.
that they're safe,
Prove it.
or
Yeah.
he could direct scientists employed by Health and Human Services to have independent testing done that is independent of the manufacturers. Right now, the FDA is captured, the CDC is captured. Their clients are not you and I, it's not the American taxpayer.
It's them
Their clients
lobbyists.
are the companies. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
companies that make the vaccines, the permitting process and all of that provides something like 60% of their funding. So their funding goes away if they are saying no to all the products that are shoved at them. Now, two things. I sent that meme to you just a moment ago that was
You
tinfoil
want
and
to see
very
that?
funny.
There you go. How's that?
That's me.
There you go. So,
Yep, that's me. But I also sent, and you can put this up too. I also sent in the chat a little bit ago the COVID reimbursement the COVID reimbursement schedule for the COVID vaccine, and it's very similar to what the pediatricians were facing. So when people say, doctors say, well, I don't get any extra money if I vaccinate you. Well, they may not. They're an employee on a salary, but the practice, the hospital, the corporation that owns them is going to be concerned with that. And as an employee, if you don't do the job that your employer pays you to do, you're in danger of being let go.
yeah. Well, you know, the vaccines, all the, I think, what do they have, like 20 or 30 now that they give these kids? I'm thinking, why don't we just
No, it's
stop?
72 doses
I,
of
I,
about
I'm,
30
I,
different vaccines, and
I
people were
still got
arguing
what was it, the polio one we
smallpox.
had to get,
No,
smallpox, whatever.
smallpox. I've got the
Uh,
scar too.
but I
Sadly,
don't
my
see why
mother
we
didn't know.
couldn't just stop. We don't have outbreaks of these things. Why don't we just stop this for at least
Isn't there a
2
big
years?
measles outbreak right now?
Yeah, but
No,
I don't even.
there
I
really
No.
isn't.
I don't think it's widespread, Brad. I don't think it's coming
There's
to a
there have
library near
been
you.
yeah, yeah,
But
I
what
mean,
they,
I'm saying
somebody
is,
died, right?
stop the vaccines for a couple years to see if it's. I mean, this is not a hard experiment to do.
we can't
No,
stop
but
the shareholder
somebody, like a
profits.
kid died, right, in Texas?
Yeah, they had RSV and 4 different other diseases along with
Yeah,
measles.
come on,
But
Brad. Quit trying to.
measles
You need
is
one of
in,
those signs like the
it's called
I'm just
Democrats.
propaganda.
asking, like, because yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
you
one of
can
those
ask and I'll
where
tell you.
it's not a
It's just
COVID death.
propaganda.
It's just
You know,
they died with
here's
COVID,
a
but
dirty
not with
secret.
COVID.
Yes, that's the same thing. But see, here's the thing. People don't understand that vaccine coverage and whether you actually call somebody vaccinated or not, it's almost a word of art because measles is, from what I understand, measles is a two-shot series. So if you get one, and I don't know that for definitive fact, you can fact check me on that because I've never let those people poison my kids,
So
so
and
I don't
so's.
know. I have no personal experience with a child with a vaccine damage, but there's a two-shot series. So if you get the first shot, not the second shot, you're considered unvaccinated. So all those kids that they're saying there's 5,000 unvaccinated kids in Texas, they might have actually gotten one shot and not got the second shot. And MMR is one of the vaccines that damage children the most. I mean, all of them can disable a child, all of them can kill a child, all of them can cause incredible lifelong chronic health problems. But if you get one and you don't get two, they're going to count you among the unvaccinated. And
Mm.
what's that book? How to Lie with Statistics? They
Yeah, well, here
show
you go. It's
they sh-
spot. You
there it
can
is.
talk over these statistics here.
Yep.
Is
So
that what
here's
you
the
sent me?
straight from, yes, this is exactly what I sent you, straight from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So if you can qualify, so here's how you qualify for a bonus. So in September 1st, 2021, they gave them an initial incentive payment, and then December 31st, they had a final incentive payment. So it's almost like training your sales staff who work on commission to convince
Oh,
people to uptake a product. So look at that. If you get 75% of people vaccinated, you get a $125 bonus per vaccinated member.
that's
And
like
then if you meet the
120.
below
If you
threshold,
got 1,000 people, you're going to get $125,000. I
yeah,
That's a
mean,
good day.
that's money.
Yeah.
yep.
That's
And so
crazy.
when you think about that, and what was the uptake of COVID vaccine? I think it was around 60 or 70% for sure in this country, and it might have been as high as 80%. So, how many millions and millions of members of Blue Cross and Blue Shield? And Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is also Medicaid. So all of these doses were bought and paid for by our taxpayer dollars.
Thank God
And
for Operation Warp Speed and President Trump.
Oh, this is another reason why I am not a fan of Trump. He calls himself the father of the vaccine and,
Yeah.
Operation Warp Speed and all that stuff. Let's
It's
face it, he's
amazing
a
how much we all
businessman.
agree on, and you guys will
yeah,
never ever
I mean,
become
and
anywhere
that's
near a Democrat.
yeah, well, no,
Like,
Are you even a Democrat, Brad? I mean, I think that you're just a really nice person that wants to help people and doesn't yet see that you can't help somebody else by stealing from their neighbor. Because that's really what
sure
it
you
boils
can.
down to.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
I
I
mean,
mean, you
I'm
can,
not
but
gonna
you
rule that
shouldn't.
out.
anybody's got a poop pillow in the background there is like solid. I'm just saying, usually, yeah,
He's pooping on the
Yeah.
he's pooping on the rainbow, though. I mean, I'm
yeah. No,
trying
I
Yeah.
to.
think I don't
I
know
mean,
what
look at the mixed messages that I'm sending.
I know it. It's like no Bud Light tonight. I'm drinking Ultra because I'm an athlete.
Oh no, like I already, yeah. No, we went
Here's
out
my
earlier.
drink. Here's my drink of choice. Let me see if I can get it on here. Olipop cherry. Do you
Oh,
guys know
where'd you
about
get that?
Olipops?
Yeah, where'd you get that? That
Um,
looks good.
oh, these are like Walmart. I mean, any place really that
It's like
usually near the
cherry
produce
soda,
section.
cherry
Yeah,
Coke.
it's like soda, except it's I don't know if it's cassava or cassava. I'm going to go with cassava. I'm going to go with the open A because it's AVA at the end. Root fiber, chicory root inulin, Jerusalem artichoke inulin. Now, the reason the inulin is important is because that is a prebiotic fiber, so that feeds the good
The
bacteria
good
in your
parts.
belly.
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
there's calendula flower and kudzu root. By the way, let's talk about kudzu, Kudzu.
That stuff has destroyed the South. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the
No,
kudzu
not at
vines.
all. No, people should be eating it. Do you know how
But they're
healing it
not. You
is?
can't eat it fast enough. It grows like 3 feet a day.
Wait, seriously, you
Well,
can eat it?
y
Like, how is that
yes,
not
it's
just
one of
solving
the it's
world
one of the
hunger?
most nutritious things on the planet. It could be solving world hunger. It helps with
Seriously, if
diabetes.
it's something
Yeah.
that can grow,
Yeah, strawberry vanilla is my favorite too, Janet. This cherry was a backup because the last 10 cans I bought were strawberry vanilla, and I'm like, need to expand
So
my
where do we
horizon.
get such a thing? Where do you get
Oh,
such a
right
thing?
in the Walmart section, like where they
I
have
don't
all
go to
the.
Walmart. Come on. What?
Okay, well, you know
I'm
what?
too
You can get this
sophisticated to
from
go to the
you
Walmart.
can get this from Walmart for a buck 97 because they did a price rollback, or you can pay like 2.79 at Fresh Time.
So one of those, one can
Yeah,
is $1. What is it like
yeah.
Bread Bowl or something? Or
Um, yeah, I
it's
don't get any
probiotics and
nutrition from it
stuff.
per se.
okay,
It's
yeah. So
prebiotic and probiotics. Let me see if it has
man,
any
I'm
actual
gonna
probiotics in it.
stick with my
It's got
sparkling
Himalayan
water
pink
from.
salt,
Well,
no tea
can I
caffeine.
ask
Yeah,
you guys a question about
you can. I
what
may lie to you.
what do you guys think will happen first? I'm going to give you two options because
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
these were some things from the State of the Union.
I'm ready, and you can answer in the chat too if you want to
I'll
answer.
refer to
Now,
my notes.
yeah. So, do you think Greenland will join the U.S. first, or
Or
uh, Marco Rubio will be fired / he'll resign? Like, which one of those
oh
two will happen
wow,
first?
What if he just
'Cause
gets assassinated? Does that count?
that
Marco?
is.
Yeah, I mean,
I
either
mean,
way, he's
that
out of
dude's
office.
got some big ears. Did you notice how big his ears are? They're like that long. They
I
are
mean, I
big.
feel like he has a lot of material from his past about how much he hates Trump, and
Oh,
Trump
so
kind
you
of,
think he's gonna?
well, Trump kind of put him out there tonight
Well, he called
with
him Little
Panama
Marco,
Canal,
didn't
and
he? Or didn't he call him
well, he,
Yeah,
Little
no,
Marco
but he
I
basically
didn't hear
just
him
said
say
to
that.
him,
during the campaigns when he was running
oh
again?
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah,
that was
yeah, for
they
sure.
got into it, but he said something like, you know, Marco will do great, but if he doesn't, we'll know who to blame.
I
And
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I did.
like
Yeah, I
it
was
was
like, that's not a good thing to say.
no, he was,
no,
sometimes
I
he.
wouldn't
So
feel
I think
comfortable.
this is what I'm going to say though. I think it'll be Greenland because I think Trump's the kind of guy that lets
Yeah,
them go and lets them do their thing. And I don't think Trump's going to be concerned with what he's doing. And it seems like Marco's getting out there and doing the stuff he's supposed to do. He's got the freedom to do it. So I'm going to say Greenland first because I don't know why we're trying to buy Canada and Greenland. I do. What do you think about the Panama Canal? Oh wait, Lucy, you get to weigh in on what do you think, and then with Brad, you got to answer your own question. And anybody in the
Oh,
well,
chat, what do you think is going to
I'm
happen?
going to agree with the Panamanian president who was assassinated by the CIA, and that is that the Panamanian Canal, that area, that piece of earth regardless of, the excavation that was done to turn it into a canal. God gave that to the Panamanian people to be a blessing to them. So we shouldn't have it. China shouldn't have it. The Panamanian people should have it. They're the ones who should be profiting from it. Now, Trump could go make a tremendous deal with them. And, that would be for the benefit of, America and trading.
And
But
him.
the Panamanian
And him.
president who said, yeah, of course, they
Oh
all
yeah,
line
there's
their own
always got to be
pockets.
some in there for the big guy.
But the Panamanian Canal should be in the possession, control, and ultimately profitability of the Panamanian people. We've got some unique real estate that gives us distinct advantages in tourism, and people come spend money with us, and that's awesome. And the Panamanian people deserve to keep the profits from them. But the Panamanian president that said that, he got in an airplane and it was literally blown up in the sky.
Yeah, he got JFK.
That's some bad luck.
John
That's
Kennedy.
just.
Yeah. Well,
Was it a
yeah.
Boeing plane?
No, it
You
didn't
know
matter
what?
what kind of plane it was,
Yeah,
Brad.
I'm
yeah,
just kidding,
It
yeah.
blew up. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Well, this is what I think should happen. We built the dang on thing. It's on their land. We should split it 50-50. And, but somehow China's taking the thing over. I was just like,
Well, that's
because
that's an interesting thing. That's reneging on a contract. So in my mind, it's pretty simple. Jimmy Carter, I would have never done this, and he had Zbigniew Brzezinski. I can't pronounce the guy's name, but
Brzezinski
Carter
or
Zbigniew Brzezinski or Brzezinski, like most presidents. Let's see, Colonel Edwin House was behind, not Lyndon Johnson because it was much earlier. Who was before FDR?
Hoover.
Wilson.
Was it Roosevelt? No, who was there behind? I'd have to look it up. Colonel
Are you
Hoover
Edwin.
talking
Now I
about
gotta
included.
do it.
FDR? Wasn't it Wilson? When it Woodrow Wilson
Who?
was it?
Oh, yes, it was Woodrow Wilson. Yes,
Hey,
thank
look
you.
at me go.
Because it's like Johnson, Wilson.
No, it was Wilson.
So Woodrow Wilson in the background had Zbigniew Brzezinski. No, that was Carter who had Zbigniew Brzezinski. Wills. It's too freaking late. Woodrow Wilson
You did
had
so good
Colonel
with the
Edwin House telling him what to
antibiotics in
do.
your stomach. I was really impressed with that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Well, but it's like what did he say? I couldn't believe how many people had died. And I think that was a number that he fudged. Because I think it was more like 27,000. But that's still a lot of people to die on a project. I mean, OSHA was busy down there with that one because
Well, we
that
didn't
was
have OSHA
crazy.
till the 70s.
I know, but I'm just saying if they
Oh,
were
okay.
around, they'd be really busy because of all the deaths. And uh the Hoover Dam, that's where we invented the hard hat
Oh,
because they kept
yes.
getting beamed. There was 29 deaths on that, and 28 of them were from head injuries from people dropping
Yeah.
wrenches and crap and
Oh,
falling
Yeah.
down on somebody's head.
so
So they
wait,
took
but with
what
regulations, I thought
they
Trump
didn't have
doesn't like
regulations.
regulations.
They didn't like regulations. Well,
Trump
on
doesn't
the
like.
job
He
site,
doesn't
we
want
we
regulations.
on
He
the job
wants.
site. Oh, hold on, I got to get in on this on the job site. I see we have to wear so much crap anymore. You're just bogged down with safety this and safety that. There's two
Yeah,
people on a
because
job
people
site.
die.
There's people that belong there and there's people that don't. And I've seen guys come on a job site. I don't care what kind of OSHA you have. They're going to get hurt because they're just stupid. I mean, you got to have the sense to be on a job site to know when a thing's dangerous or whatever. I see guys just go straight ahead without thinking about stuff, and they're just not safe.
Yeah,
And
they're
they usually
distracted,
take
they're not
themselves
focused.
out with something. I
Yeah,
mean, they do.
I've seen
So
it too.
there's just
So,
you
Brad,
either have it or
have
you
you
don't.
ever actually worked on a construction site? Have you done any
Oh yeah,
construction work? What'd you
He
do?
looks
yeah.
like
I've
he.
done roofs before.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's
Yeah, so you know. I
yeah.
mean, you gotta have
Roofs
some
are
sort of is it called a belay, just like it is when you're rock climbing?
yeah. I mean,
Like you've got
We had
the
like.
rope on the opposite side to, keep you from falling.
that's how some of them do it, but
I
most
mean,
people
it
just use
wasn't
a
that
old
steep. Like it
cushion.
wasn't. The pitches weren't. You know,
Yes.
I've
10-12s or
okay,
anything.
so I've fixed and flipped a lot of houses. The house that I'm sitting in, um, you can call me trailer trash now because I'm telling you people, I bought a double wide because it was so cheap. It had been through a couple winters. And so my husband and I'm right there with him. We're crawling under the house in the crawl space. I'm doing pecs. I'm putting shark bites together because I don't know how to do the soldering thing. I've done a lot of work on my own houses. I've been my husband calls it the attic monkey. So I'm the one up in the attic because I'm smaller,
We don't want to hear
face down
about
in
your
the
personal life with
insulation.
Dorn, okay?
Yeah, exactly. And fish tape and making up junction boxes, and those houses are still standing The electricity still works.
Yeah, so
So,
primitive Pete.
yeah,
Well,
I
here's your
have
answer. Thor Wilkinson, he is quite the history buff on our. I mean, he posts a lot of stuff on People Over Politics, and there's your names. It's Spiro. We have to actually have our own Spiro, Heraclianus, but that looks like
I
Brzezinski
thought it
guy.
was Big New Brzezinski. Now I
Well, it
gotta look
looks
that
like
up.
it's
Maybe
Spiro.
it's
Well,
somebody else, a Big New. And I gotta try and spell as a Big New.
okay. So, oh, I thought
Z.
you say the big new, like not the big old.
No, no, like the guy's name started with a Z. It says Zbigniew Brzezinski was a Polish-American diplomat and political scientist. He served as a counselor to Lyndon B. Johnson from 66 to 68 and was Jimmy Carter's national security advisor from 77
And
to
he's the one that
81.
gave away the Panama Canal. I remember I was like,
Yeah,
it was what, 77 when he did it. So I
yeah.
was 16-ish. And I
Here, I'll
remember
put
even
this
being
in
a
the
dumb kid going, that's a stupid idea. Give away the
well,
I mean,
what was the purpose behind it? The purpose was to take, wealth and cash flow away from Americans and,
piss it
so
away.
but see, going to the Panamanian people, I don't have a problem with, but it's an idea of reneging. So we had this gift, terrible, terrible idea. However, the Carter administration did that. Now, it was thou theirs. When you give somebody a gift, when you sell something to somebody for $1, title has passed, and as much as it sucks, they had title to it. So now if they wanted to sell it to the Chinese, they could. Maybe, thank you for posting that. That you can see why I
Look
couldn't
how
say
good
the
of a
man's
producer
name.
I am. I just
Yes. Yeah, you just know how to do stuff.
There you go.
So the fact of the matter is it was no longer ours. I mean, we can complain about it, but it's like me. I sold my house in Fishers and I thought I sold at the top of the market in 2019 and here we are almost 6 years later and the darn thing's almost doubled. And I
no,
didn't
it's like,
capture that equity and I'm like, "Oh, I should have continued to live in Fishers." And then I'm like, "No, but I was 6 feet from my neighbors." You could lean on one house and
yeah.
touch the
Well, if
other
you
one.
would have had Zygmunt Brzezinski as your realtor, he would have got top dollar for you. I'm sure of
Well,
it.
he
Just
would
with the
have
name.
because, as national security advisor, he could have
Yeah,
just,
he
threatened
used
to
his name.
assassinate
He just said,
anybody.
"Hey, we declare this a one of those funds." Well, so back to the State of the Union. He was reading off all of these savings and everything that they were having, and it's like, I mean, that's a lot of weird stuff. I mean, just a lot of weird stuff that they were talking about. And I'm
You
like,
know,
how do we
Yeah.
fact
it
check
feels
that?
like
How
you
do we
don't know the
say
whole story.
where do they? Where can I say? Oh, I see the canceled check from Uganda's circumcisions things or whatever they were doing. I mean, some of that stuff is
I was
crazy.
very glad to see I was very glad to see that America does a lot of propaganda testing in Africa to get people to sexually mutilate themselves as adults, and then they try to use that same propaganda to sexually mutilate baby boys in this country. And it is unbelievable the damage that is done with circumcision. People have no clue.
Yeah, it's and I don't get it. It's like it was a I don't get it. So Brown here was 11 in 77. So did you remember the Panama Canal? And at age 11, did you remember the Panama Canal getting sold? I remember it. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. I'm just dumb, I'm just learning how to drive. That's how long ago it was. And I just kept thinking, it just seems not like a good idea. Anyway, but yeah, the savings and all this stuff, it'll be interesting to see, and Trump did say we're going to balance the budget first time in 26 years. Yeah, like Brad is like, but I
Well,
mean, with
he's already
Musk
talking
there,
about giving away $5,000 checks too.
I
And
think that was internet folklore.
I mean, but when it comes out of his mouth, like how is it? Because all I do now is like I just want to watch C-SPAN because I don't want to watch Fox News. I don't want to watch like anybody spin it. I just want to watch it come out of his head.
Yeah,
And when
and
it
then
does,
and
it
analyze it.
looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
So
I
how
tell
do
you.
you rectify that in your head?
Well, I just, it's a wait and see. One of my things, the biggest thing I see,
But I think he's trying to get away with a lot of stuff while we all wait and see.
yeah, well, I
Like,
think, it's like cockroaches. You see one and there's 20 more under the baseboard. I mean, what else is going on? I mean, it's a huge distraction a lot of times of what we're actually, oh, look over
yeah.
here when we got that over there. And, but you think about it, he's only been in for a while, and it's like I'm just so disappointed that Congress Congress should be trying to keep up. They should take the lead. You got a president that's running out like this. You need to put. Let's start making the laws like we're supposed to, and
No, you need to
maybe that'll
sandbag
slow
his
him
ass
down.
down
Oh
and
well, yeah.
slow
I
him
mean, at
down.
least, but they can, and they got both houses. They need to get it going. So
Yeah.
we'll see. They should take the hint that I think a lot of the people that aren't freaking out about this are like, hey, I hear people like, wake up every day. It's Christmas. There's some new thing that's been cut. We got less government. I think people are just so tired of more government, more government. And,
yeah, but like, I mean, aren't you guys seeing like the stories about like, veterans getting fired and stuff? And I know that doesn't matter in the
and I've seen some farmers that were mad and people that are losing their jobs because of this and that. But I also hear a lot of stories about people that, we got to go to work now. I'm so used to staying at home. And
no, people should have to go back. Yeah, I'm fine with that because
Yeah.
it's really just messing up like real estate stuff. Like I don't understand commercial buildings if we're not going to them. Like turn them into residentials then if you're not going to actually have it be a business.
Here's from one of my friends that texted me their comment. That was the best speech ever. We were clapping and dying laughing when he was pointing right at the Democrats. Oh, they were laughing at you, Brad. I'm just saying.
Oh no, man, I'm used to that. That's yeah.
Well, how about the guy that had to get thrown out? The guy that looked like Ebenezer Scrooge with his cane. I mean, that was sort of weird, interesting. He was just
I feel like that was kind of set up too. Like I feel like Johnson was ready to throw out really anybody that did anything.
Well, and you saw people leaving during it, and then you saw empty seats. You had some people protesting before, and I get it, but like I said, he ain't screwed it up yet. When he screws it up, it's time to that's when it's time to get.
He has all the pieces in place to just
screw it up.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's. I'm telling you what, it's teed up. I mean, this is either going to be the greatest thing ever, or go buy the broken bread and milk because it's going to get ugly.
If it's somehow where he has mastered 4D chess and we all win, fantastic, great, go America.
So Janet says that was Al Green with the cane. I think I thought he sang that one song. Al Green, did he sing?
Take me to the river.
Yeah, take me to the river. Yeah, and dump all our money and our hopes and dreams in the river and watch it flow downstream. But yeah, to me, it's like people that are really, and I have, Brad, as you know, I have a lot of friends on all sides of everything, and I don't block anybody. I try to listen to everybody, and our show is based on we listen to everybody. And recently I've been thrown under the bus for the people that I try to help and associate with. I mean, it just was a constant barrage of people. The only class that they didn't go after with me is the addicts that I've helped over the years. And I had one of them call me this morning and say, John, I'm just sorry that, these people are dragging you through the mud. I feel like they were talking about me. I said, dude, that you're the only class of people that I didn't talk to that they didn't drag into this. I mean, it was everything across the board, the biggest smear garbage campaign that I could see. And you probably noticed
it was unfair.
So it's like, but if you're going to get in public life, all that stuff's game. But my theory is answer a fool and it validates them. And that's what this was. It was just basically a bunch of half-truths. I mean, who put somebody's bankruptcy papers online? I mean, it's like, and then lies about it because they didn't know how to read the report to say I discharged $2 million. No, I did not, because I paid most of that loan back because they took all my stuff and bankrupted me. And then the bank went bankrupt. I mean, it's like, and so many people in 2008 had problems.
Oh, yeah.
And it took till 2015 to get it unscrewed. So, yeah, it was, I could do like 3 shows on that debacle of how it just trashed me. But, you read the thing. I bankrupt, $2 million discharge. Oh, okay. That's what you see. So, but it is what it is.
John, I think you should focus on all the support you got too, though.
Like, oh yeah, no, I do.
I do feel that you got a lot,
and it did not hurt the outcome. My outcome was hurt by the fact that they appointed 300 mummy dummies to go in and vote. We could not surpass that. I mean, it didn't matter what we were. I mean, they could have elected a stump, Brad, you could have been elected that day as a Democrat if they would. No, I'm kidding you. Anybody, because they would have told him to go in and vote for Brad, and they would go in and vote for Brad.
I'm pretty sure the legislature is trying to cinch all that up to where I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Well, we got the Micah rule. They wouldn't let me have people on the stage because of Micah. Because of Micah at the delegate, when they did the delegates, he got the people with the signs behind him, and Julie McGuire standing up there with her, slip showing, and so we couldn't have people up on the stage this time because I call it the Micah rule. So I mean they had it covered pretty good on this. It was covered pretty good, but honestly, we were fighting over the last ticket on the Titanic. I mean, it's, I don't want to get into the other details, but I learned a lot of stuff about the Republican Party Saturday that was very alarming to me about how petty and how racist. I'm just going to say it. How, and I used to think, oh, Democrats make fun of Republicans calling them racist, but man, I just got a bad vibe that day about their vibe. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. So, you look at the State of the Union, we have all walks of life there tonight doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't the party. What's left of the party in Marion County. That's not the vibe that you'll get there. So that's sort of my rant on that a little bit. So sorry to put that in the State of the Union thing, but
good.
One of those things. But anyway, we held our head up. We did what we did. I had a great group of people, and we ain't done. We're still going to look at some things. So let's see. Oh, yeah. So let's see. This is Thor wants me to come over to the right side. That's the libertarian, Lucy. It's like, okay. Yeah, I'm a less government guy. I'm all about that. So let's see what Janet says. She says, bothers me too. I'm a conservative Republican. Yeah, so it's losing their way a little bit. So hopefully it's a little bit of a wake-up call. But there was these kind of, we were considered grassroots, and they would be considered establishment. And there were several of these counties that were in that same position. And the closest they came was our buddy. Well, we're going to have John Schrock on next week. We're going to talk more about this chairmanship stuff. He lost 10-11. So they had 21 voters in theirs. So Brad, guess how many we had in Marion County?
28.
We had 425.
That's way more.
The voting, and we could have a possibility of 1,238 if all this position. I'm telling you, there's a lot of precincts in Marion County. We have a whole congressional district in Marion County, and then 11th of another one. So it's an important fixture for the state party. So I think they really want to concentrate on the state issues instead of our local issues. And they've just sort of given up to the Democrats. It's like super majority here where I live and super majority the other way where you all live. And, how do we do it? And, this pretty much summed it up. Yvonne. I think Yvonne might have been there. She might have been. I don't know if she was tell me, were you a PC, Yvonne? I don't remember if you were a precinct committeeman. So there's two ways this works. You can be elected. You run for office in the primary. If nobody's there, then they usually say you don't get on the ballot. You just automatically win. If you win, then you get to elect your vice PC if you fill out the paperwork. That's the proper way to do it. Or the current chairman can just appoint people and put them in that spot. So it's supposed to be done by December 15th, all done. But we had heard all sorts of stories that it probably didn't get done. But they just send in lists of people to be appointed. And I would call them on the phone trying to get their vote. And about 20 to 25 of them didn't even know they were PCs. They didn't even know. So here you got, and I compare it a lot to like the immigration. You got people that come into the country legally, but then you got these other people that don't. They come around the outside and they get in without doing the proper paperwork. So that's how a lot of folks felt. That
we're paying the $5 million.
Okay, let's talk about that. Well, I think that's just, I don't know about that one. That's just something else.
You can just welcome in whoever you want for $5
million. You got the money, you can get in. It sort of works that way now.
Didn't he say if he sells, he did the math on it. He was like, if I sell 10,000 of those, it's like 500. I don't know. He messed it up, I thought, but
yeah, well, the math thing, but still,
Fire your
If
way
you're
to
going to
freedom.
let people in, I don't know. I mean, I think with Trump, everything's a business deal and everything's for sale. Just like going for Greenland and Canada and this part. I mean, it's like watching The Apprentice live, with a lot of this stuff. It's like, okay, let's make a deal. Art of the deal. Everything's for sale. Zelensky, you want to come into the White House and not wear a suit? Maybe that's set off Trump. I don't know, but something got that thing going south.
Oh my God, the suit, like that whole thing.
It's his
That
look.
that
It's
that
like
bugged me.
it's like Braun used to wear the blue shirt with the sleeves rolled up. That was his look of
Yep.
I
He
think
was
so
last
gonna
week I was
roll up his
yelling
sleeves
about
and do the work.
Elon. No, Elon was wearing a t-shirt with a suit jacket on,
and his
and he was
black
wearing a
MAGA.
freaking hat. Like he's wearing a hat indoors. Like I would have gotten I would have gotten smacked in the back of the head if I was in
You know what the
school.
We want to
best thing
smack you in
about
the back of the head anyway. But think
Yeah,
about Elon is clearly on the spectrum. I mean, he's not got the social skills. I think he's getting a little better speaking to people, but
so why are we listening to him? Shouldn't he have like a spokesperson? So shouldn't Doge
well, they
have
gave
a
him
spokesperson
Vivek.
that can better
They put Vivek
explain it?
Ramaswamy with him. I mean, that was a great combination, but I don't.
Well,
He
why?
just sort of went away.
What about Elon's boss, Amy, whatever her name was,
Oh,
um, the head of Doge? It's not Elon. I thought it was that Amy girl.
yeah. Well, you know what's going on, and I would think that some of this AI stuff that he would figure out would be great. So, all right. Well, we've gone. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
we've
it's
gone an
after
hour.
midnight.
It's like
It's
this is great,
already
and
it's already
we still
tomorrow.
have like 34 live viewers. At least they seem to be alive.
I thought you
So
were going to say 34 more minutes, and I was like, no.
no, we
No.
don't have that, Brad. So, folks out there in TV land here, Brad is the king of the Irish goodbye. It will be backstage, and we'll be talking all
Yes.
of a sudden, click, and now he thinks it's funny. He might even do
Yeah.
it right now, but I don't. Hopefully not. Hopefully he doesn't
No.
lead over
Hey,
to the show.
we're from the Midwest, so it's time to say, well, I guess
Yep.
it's time to go.
Yep, it's time to go, everybody. So let me pull it up here. So hey, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I thought we had a good conversation, and people, what the heck, a lot
was
of people
fun.
fired up, about this stuff. So let me get to it here, and I'll play it. We don't have Tiffany. I don't know. She's MIA. She said she was going to be late, and here we are late. It's actually early now. All of a sudden. Oh, by the way, we have time change this Sunday. So anybody that's thinking about that, we got to spring forward. So Brad, you're going to be a little grumpy at church on Sunday because you're going to lose an hour of sleep.
Oh, guess where I get to go? On next week, Sunday and Monday, we're doing it's the Indiana Library Federation's youth conference, which is taking place in Bloomington, and I get to visit, or I'm going to go visit the Kinsey Institute.
Kinsey Institute. Take some pictures for us.
I can't wait. I'm gonna
take some pictures for us.
I
See
think
if it's being funded.
Parents hat or something. I'm gonna put on the statue, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's where all the Fort Knox gold is, down there in the Kinsey Institute. Maybe it's.
Am I allowed to protest? Am I allowed to protest on the college campus?
Well, I don't know. They cracked down on those tent. Don't take your tent. I don't.
Well, Trump said that you're not allowed. Like, if anybody's having an illegal protest on a college campus, they will be arrested or expelled, and sent back to their country if they're from a different one.
We're going to send you back to the country of Anderson.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, and I'm going to the.
Yeah, I'll take pictures though. And
this weekend, I'm going to Florida to the Bay Hill Invitational. My high school friend, has VIP tickets on the 18th green. I'll be drinking mint juleps with the Tiger Woods and talking about golf, about the good old days and that. So just for a little short trip. I'll be back Tuesday for the show. Don't worry, get back Monday. It'll be on the St. John River, jet skiing. It's just going to be a wonderful time. I'm like McDonald's. I deserve a break. So there you go. That's it. So Brad's going to Bloomington. I'm going to Florida. Lucy, where are you going? Salem, into the Walmart to get some more.
Yeah,
juice?
that's it. Yeah, that's it.
We're
I'll go
going
get
into
I'll get
town,
another
kids.
Olipop.
Get in the wagon. Let's go. We got to go into
Yeah,
town.
that is a real thing out there. I went to the planning commission meeting this morning and took one of my neighbors with me, and he's like, "Oh, I hate going to Salem." Now this is all of like 18 or 19 miles away, but it's the opposite side. We got a big county. We got 516 square miles here, so it's easy to be, a 30 to 40-minute drive from one corner to the
Yeah,
other. I'm like, "Do you even come to Salem?" He said, "Not if I can avoid it, maybe once or twice a year." He said these planning commissions have got him going, but otherwise he would just ignore it.
that seems to be a hot item right now with this, the IDEDC and different things that's going on.
Yep.
And
Yeah, there's
we
a
got
lot
a,
going on in the background.
Franklin Township here is they're expanding these high density things, and the roads and schools can't handle. I mean, it's bad planning, but that's what you get. So anyway, we could talk forever. Hey, everybody, we'll see you next Tuesday. We're going to talk about these county chair things. We're going to have Jay Hart. He's always entertaining, and John Schrock is going to be our guest, and we'll talk about the zoning thing with John Schrock and his chairman race is narrow loss, but I'll just let him tell you what happened. So anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for staying up late, Brad. I know it was really tough for you and everything, and Lucy is really tough on you, and Tiffany. I don't know where you are, but you need to come on in at some point. You need to come into the office, or I'm going to report you to Trump, and he's going to fire you.
Make
Yep.
her write 5 bullet points. So.
Yes, we need it. Yeah, 5 things of what she's been doing while she's been gone. So there you go. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Watch us next week, and we'll be back. Adios.